Okay, my babes. So we put a little bit on. We put some eyelashes on. We put lippy on. Nothing too fancy or jazzy. We definitely gonna set a timer for this. All right, my babes. So we here. I got my matcha. I live by the airport, so if you hear a lot of outside noise, I ain't in control of that shit. Anyway, so you guys have been asking. I feel like there's stuff on my lips. Is there stuff on my lips? Let's look at that. Okay, we're good. Okay, anyway, so not me doing that. I do this a lot, like I got inches. Child. You know. Okay. So like I said at the beginning, a lot of the babes has been asking me, how have I manifested my life? How am I so consistent? You know, how am I so positive? You know, how am I so like all the so's, I guess you can say. And here is my answers. First part of manifestation is the first tool that I use for that is self-awareness. So I'm going to elaborate on that in 3 parts. So the first part I'm going to elaborate on that one because you know, bitch, I take notes. All right. So the first thing I did was about 2 years ago I started therapy. I started therapy in December of 2018. After post a breakup, almost all the baddies are thrust into therapy post a breakup. Not everyone. Some people go because of other reasons, but for my specific case, I went because of post of a breakup. So anyway, I had one therapist that was primarily using cognitive therapy, which didn't really work for me because it would be like how to counteract a negative thought with a positive thought, and it would be like I would be good and fine after I would learn the tools of thinking positive, but my negative self-sabotaging habits would come back and it would be a hard plummet. I would be like immediately like mad at myself that I didn't succeed for being so positive. So eventually that relationship dissolved. First way of learning how to break up in a healthy way with a therapist, she suggested I have psychotherapy, which is talk therapy. I believe that's correct. I believe it's correct. Y'all let me know in the comments. Anyway, so she gave me Psychology Today was a website, and I found another therapist on there. He's a black therapist. My other therapist was American Indian. So she was still a POC, a person of color. And then my other therapist was exactly a black woman therapist. Found her. My alarm went off in the middle of that. I'm sorry, y'all. But I found her. She's amazing. I still see her to this day. And she kind of got to the root of the problem of why I am the way I am. I got a correct diagnosis. I was able to like kind of like feel like I could swim. Essentially, I wasn't sinking constantly. Now I am an advocate of therapy. Some people don't like that, you know. Initially, when you get in therapy, you do initially start to therapize everybody else because you can see how people aren't dealing with their shit. You just see people ain't dealing with their shit, and it's loud. But that doesn't mean you have to act like you're better than them, because we're all a work in progress. But child, we'll get into that videos down the line in other videos. But so that was my first way of getting into that, and then I added tools to that, which is meditation and listening to audible books is my way of meditating. So I did a lot of self-help, self-awareness books through there. And I started to pick, usually I pick a verse. This is part 2. This is the second part of it. So usually I pick a verse for the year and I just go by that. I pick a Bible verse for the year. But my therapist, she was like, why don't you pick a verse for the month? And I was like, that is actually a really good idea. I could do that. Hold on, let me make sure this time is off because this thing, I set a timer to make sure I stay on topic because I can go and go and go, but we just gonna this shit all unedited anyway. So I started picking verses of the month, and that really helped me stay in tune with those specific 30 to 31 days, or 28 if it's February, 29 if it's a leap year. That made me stay very concentrated on what I was focusing on that month. Like, I would pick my favorite verse is Galatians 6:9, and I would pick that verse, and that would let me know that no good work goes basically undone. You know, you will reap your harvest. And let's say I set a goal for the month to do, because I'm a huge fitness person, I want to work out. My goal was to lose 2 inches by the end of the month, because I don't really do pounds anymore. I just do like some goals that are realistic to me. I want to lose 2 inches. So some days I may not feel like going to the gym, but then I'll look at my verse because I put it on my phone as a screensaver, and I'll be like, oh, okay, no good work goes undone. I'm going to reap what I'm sowing, you know? So that kind of really helped me stay focused for my manifestations, if that's what you want to call it. And then, let's see what else. We're going to swing back to therapy again, because that's really kind of like the whole entity of the thing. So therapy really made me get a grip of who I am, so I can really like be my authentic self. I know for a fact that I was really much, from our previous relationship, it was extremely, the one in 2018 I got out of that relationship was extremely narcissistic, very manipulative. Child, it was a whole hot mess. But I sat in it. I had to take responsibility that I sat in that relationship, because that was my decision. And this isn't bashing that person, because I got exactly where they were at and where I was at, and it was completely unhealthy. And it took me a while to realize that was unhealthy, to get out of that. And that kind of like skyrocketed me into becoming the person I am now. So as much as that relationship was a dumpster fire, it did make me the person I am today. And that's another thing. I don't allow it to hold me hostage. I admit that the relationship wasn't the best. I admit my role of what I allowed for that relationship, and not letting something hold you by the throat. Well, you know, in that way. Not letting you'll learn that I'm very much, my comedy is my gold on top of my personality. Not letting something hold you by the throat gives you a lot of freedom. And admitting you're wrong gives you a lot of freedom. Because we're not perfect. We all gonna fuck up, like, all the time. But allow myself to be vulnerable, transparent with myself, honest with myself, be my best friend. I turn to myself before I turn to anyone else. Because all my answers are within. You know, I listen to my body now, my sensory system. If I feel triggered, I feel something's off, I feel like, oh, like, this is making me feel like uncomfortable, like, jealousy, rage, anger. You know, your body kind of tells you why you're being triggered by the sense in it. You know, the sensory system tells you, but it's your job to do the mind-body connection to be like, okay, am I being triggered because this is making me feel inferior, or this is making me question my worth because this is a me thing? And, you know, sometimes there are outside elements that are not the reason, that are the reason why you feel the way you are, but there's still something about you that makes you feel the way you feel. So I feel like I kind of stayed on topic, child. I hope I did. But the main basis of this is self-awareness. That's my first tool in manifesting my life, is create my own reality of being aware of myself, being aware of everything I did. And I started that by taking the proactive steps of going to therapy and being very honest and transparent to myself. So yeah, I hope this helps someone, this hits someone. You know, this is just me in the raw, authentic state. So yeah.